It's been a busy week here in our nation's capital, but we're also keeping an eye on the continued fallout of the mass firings of our federal workers. In Montgomery County, a vote will soon take place for a project to help laid off federal workers. Joining us now to talk about that and some other big stories of the week is CBS Congressional Correspondent Scott MacFarlane. Scott, thank you so much for joining me today.
Hey, Simone.
All right, let's start in Montgomery County. Now, you actually spoke with County Council Vice President Will Jawando about some of this legislation. What did he have to say about that?
Yeah, as part of our CBS News The Takeout, where I am for today at 5 p.m. on CBS News 24/7, we've been talking about the major issues. And yesterday we hit on those federal layoffs, which have been so detrimental, bludgeoning to so many of our local communities. Thousands more layoffs happened in the last few weeks, and the State Department was preparing for more layoffs today, including locally. Could impact Maryland and Virginia in a big way. In Montgomery County, in mid-July, planning a vote on Councilmember Jawando's legislation, which would give a plus-up to a laid-off federal worker who applies for work in the county if they have the requisite skills. He spoke about that with CBS News last night. Take a listen.
This would give them a plus-up. They would get a guaranteed interview if they were riffed or fired since January 1.
Guaranteed interview.
Guaranteed interview. Someone would call, make sure they meet the minimum qualifications of the job, and then they would be put ahead of others below our disabled veterans and below folks who have a disability.
Just a huge political issue here, Simone, outside of Montgomery County as well, in big cities across the country, New York, San Francisco, Chicago, and Atlanta, and of course in Fairfax County, as well as the district. You have these laid-off workers having an economic impact on their communities without work, and you have jurisdictions trying to find a way to help themselves and help those workers.
Boy, to get a one-up, as you're saying, it's going to be a lot of relief for so many. We also know the clock is ticking for the president's self-imposed July 4th deadline to pass his so-called big, beautiful bill. Where does the bill stand? I know there's been some changes in regard to Medicaid. Anything you would expand on that?
Yeah, there were hopes that the voting would begin as early as tomorrow. And just a few moments ago, the Senate Majority Leader, John Thune, said voting tomorrow sounds a bit aspirational. And aspirational is often code word for ain't going to happen. They may try to get the vote started in the Senate by Sunday or Monday, but the deadline of July 4th, pretty ambitious for a bill they haven't finished writing yet, and that could impact trillions of dollars and tax cuts for so many people. Doing it by next Friday is still the order of the president, but it gets less realistic as every hour goes by, Simone.
All right, keep us posted. CBS News correspondent Scott MacFarlane, appreciate you joining me today. Thank you.